When it comes to ninjas, the Mortal Kombat fanbase is pretty much split in two. Half of them want more ninjas every time all the time, and the other half think ninjas are lame and we should have more normal looking people, damn it. And they think Naruto is gay, which of course is true.
Because you're my
But that's beside the point. Roster spots in a fighting game are always going to be a touchy subject, because no matter how many people you try to please, there's always going to be that annoying gargle mouth who's offended because Elmer, the one-eyed forklift operator, didn't make the cut, and trying to cater to one group over the other always ends in disaster. But there is a way, a dark way, in which you can satisfy both groups and sport gigantic rosters each and every game. And believe it or not, it's something that MK has done in the past. Mortal Kombat X introduced the very novel idea of character variations. You now no longer picked 1 out of 33 characters to play with, but could also pick between 3 variations that each character sported that changed the way you played, sometimes minimally, sometimes dramatically, to the point where they were different characters altogether. So you had a total of 99 options at your disposal, which is a lot. In spite of that, the variation system fell off in subsequent games, partly because some of the variations were, crap, but also because it was somewhat misunderstood, perhaps even by the developers themselves. And when it comes down to it, creating so many variations for so many different characters and making them all competitively viable is probably harder than convincing an atheist that Jesus is standing right behind them. Now, there was a very good suggestion from many of you to morph variations and fighting styles, a la Deception and Deadly Lines, together, but I'll have to cover that in a different video, because the concept in this one requires full-blown variations just like in MKX. So let's cut to the chase, shall we? There are about 19 different ninjas and kunoichi in the whole of Mortal Kombat. There is no way you're gonna include them all in any one game. Unless...
What does she look at that? Who is this little guy?
That's right. Triborg, ugliest name in the world, is in point of fact not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 characters in one. He is Sector, Cyrax, Smoke, and Cyber Sub-Zero all in one tin can package.
How can you do this?
Because Tryhard Borg's normals are more or less the same across each variation. Is there special moves that change, and that alone is enough to completely change the character's playstyle. Smoke was a Vortex character, Cyrax was a setup character, Cyber Sub was a hybrid keep away and setup version with strong hit and run tactics, while Sector was a good all-rounder with good zoning, decent pressure, and excellent space control. That's one character, all of that. The fact that you can keep the base layer of the character the same lets you squeeze in way more names into the roster than you could otherwise, and it's something that you can only do with ninjas, apart from a couple other niche cases. Johnny Cage, Sonya, Jax, Kung Lao, and Liu Kang are too distinct from one another to include them as different variations of each other, but the ninjas all share the same visual style and general way of fighting. Imagine a game where Sub-Zero has a human variation, a Wraith variation, aka Noob Saibot, and a Cyber Sub variation. Or how about a Kitana Jade Melina amalgamation? Or even a Rain, Ermac, and Tremor pairing? Just think of the wealth of content you'd be able to offer players, and just how much time it would take them to go through even half of that. Heck, you could even hide certain variations behind a paywall for all I care, as long as it doesn't cost an arm and a leg. Probably shouldn't put the idea in their heads. And before you mention it, I know that the main concern, apart from designing all the skins and special moves, would be balancing all this shit. But as I've said many times, fun trumps balance. Because the games that are remembered the fondest and ended up having the longest shelf lives are the most fun and the least balanced. MK9, MKX, these games were both broken at launch. In fact, MK9 is still broken today, yet they have both been seminal moments in the franchise's history and are remembered in a way that MK11, the quote, more balanced game, never will be by most people. Now, if you really wanted to crucify the developers with a Sisyphean amount of work, you could have them combine variations with the aforementioned fighting styles that you could change on the fly, so you'd have 30 characters times 3 variations per character times 3 fighting styles per variation, 9 per character, 270 styles to choose from, 42 billion hours of work with 2 years overtime with no extra pay. And where did everybody go? What? Too much? That's definitely not what she said.